Welcome, low ego action heroes and phoenixes. I'm Debbie Levitt from dcx, and it is Wednesday from what I hear. So that means it is time for Ask Me Anything, AMA. It is your time to get free mentoring, advice, whatever the heck I can offer you on any topic you would like to send in. You can certainly post something in the chat, which will appear on the screen, or you can send it to the URL at the top of the screen, dcx.to/Q for question, and that will go straight into my email, and I will keep an eye on my email. I'm looking at it now. And make sure that anything you send gets added to our list of questions. If you send something when I'm not broadcasting, I keep it, and it becomes one of the first questions we look at the next time. Hello, Ana Lucia. We did get a question ahead of time, but I want to remind everybody we have a free Discord community that just hit 500 members, and it's quite active, and it's completely free, so I hope you'll consider joining, whether you are a low ego action hero or a phoenix. And we've got our conference coming up in a few weeks. You'll find it linked from the homepage of dcx.com. I really think people are going to love it. I do. I worked hard on building a great program. It's the conference y'all been asking for. Come on, check it out. You will ask me later, why didn't I sign up for this? And I will say, ask yourself that. And you will also ask me, why wasn't this recorded? I wanted to watch it later. No, you cannot watch it later. We're not going to record most of the conference. Ana Lucia still does not remember the questions she had yesterday. Ana Lucia, don't forget your scrap paper and pen. Always handy. Write those questions down. Okay, so I'm going to start with a question that, hey, KB, how's your world going? We got a question, and I swear we've answered this one before, but I guess this person didn't go back and watch the episode where we talked about it, so let's try again. Tell me if this one looks familiar, everybody. Got this one. It says, oh, sorry, wrong button. I should have kept myself on the screen. Wah, wah. Press 4. There we go. I've seen people talking about working in enterprise UX. I always get confused. Is there any particular difference between that and working for a regular company? Or is it the same thing? I understand the difference between a regular company and a startup, but I'm not sure. I'm on a blackout. Yeah. I'm not sure if enterprise UX is just another buzzword or if it actually means something. So again, this is the kind of question you can ask me, but I think this is also Googleable. Enterprise UX absolutely exists. In fact, I believe we've done 2 shows on it, if not more. If you go to YouTube and you type in dcx, enterprise UX, I believe you will get 2 or 3 shows. So you can Google this stuff. You can ask your favorite LLM. You can search YouTube to see if we've already done a show about it. And so in this case, enterprise UX actually is a thing. In fact, the last 2 contract jobs ago, I worked for enterprise UX type of job. What does that mean? Enterprise UX is typically where you are, and there are a few different definitions, but typically where you are working on something that is either internal to the company, so you're building internal tools for people, so you are building for your own enterprise, or sometimes you are building large enterprise tools for other enterprises. And so enterprise UX is usually, but not always, SaaS systems, portals, extensive systems that users and teams have to use for some sort of work-related productivity. So I would say enterprise UX is its own thing. It is not a type of company, though I guess a company could focus on enterprise as their customers or the type of work they do, but it's not like there's regular company startups and enterprises that it doesn't fall into that bucket. It's more like, who is the audience and what kind of system are we creating for them, and that would tell you whether or not someone might call it enterprise. At my last job, we were part of the enterprise team. My previous job, 2 jobs ago, because we were, this was Arizona State University, so it's a university, and we are building tools for students, advisors, and coaches. So it is an internal tool for the enterprise. We were part of the team that makes the enterprise of the university run by building these, researching, designing, building these digital tools. So there are multiple definitions of enterprise. You can certainly look those up. They might say what I've already said. They might say some different things, but enterprise is a thing. It's not fake. It's not made up. And like I said, you can also find at least 2 videos about this on in dcx on YouTube. So go have a look. Okay, we have an interesting question coming in now. Thank you for the person who sent this. Let me just put this on our list for the future. What's the word I'm looking for? YouTube description. Okay, so here we go. When someone tells you you're too good to be here at your job, what does it mean? Especially when you're working hard to improve your workplace. The best person to ask is the person who said that, because I can guess what they meant, but I might not be right because I didn't say it. And so I can guess what someone else meant, but I don't know for sure. It could be, it's usually a compliment, though it feels like a little bit of an upside down compliment. Why did I see a red flag? I do have a red flag in my arsenal. Where's my red flag? Red flag. That would look like this. Let's see. Did it look like that? The question has a red flag? I don't know what this means. I don't see a red flag on this question. I just see a blue hexagon with words. Oh, metaphorically. Oh my gosh. I should apologize that I did not sleep very well last night. I was being eaten by mosquitoes and the bites were burning and I am lacking sleep. So, oh my gosh, red flags. Sure, and sometimes this is a compliment. Sometimes someone recognizes that you're working hard to improve the workplace, but they might say, you're too good to be here because the workplace doesn't want to be better. The workplace doesn't want the better future that you envision for it. You're out of sync with the workplace and you want something better. I mean, this person who's saying this recognizes that you seem to want something better for the workplace than the workplace wants for itself. Lucia says, it's a compliment, but it's like you're a diamond working in a gutter. Yeah, it could mean that someone recognizes something that is a strength in you, something about your work or leadership or strategy or suggestions that indicate that you're doing something good. But in a sense, when it says you're too good to be here, too being a kind of a comparative word, it makes it sound like you're better than this workplace is, or you're better than this workplace deserves, or it could even be taken as a you don't totally fit here because you're too good. And so I think I would look carefully at that and maybe talk to that person about what they meant, because I think it's easy for people who care about workplaces to be too good for the workplace. But I think you want to be careful about, you don't want to be too out of sync with what's going on at the workplace. If the workplace really doesn't want to change and every week you're doing a PowerPoint on why they need to change, you might look too good or out of sync or not a match to what's going on at the workplace. So I think there's a compliment in there, but to me there's also a little bit of a subtle warning. KB says part of it could be that your performance level makes them uncomfortable and insecure. Yeah, absolutely possible. All of these things are possible because someone else said this and we don't know what they meant. And the best way to go is when someone says something, I just say, what do you mean by that? Or can you give me an example of that? Because sometimes I've had people say weird things to me, like, I don't like the way you do this, or I don't like the way you said this, or I don't like whatever. And I'm thinking, like, when have I done that? And I can't think of anything. And I'll say, can you give me an example of that? Because, that sounds like something I'd want to improve or stop doing. Give me an example. And very often they go, I don't have an example. And then I'm thinking, maybe this isn't a thing. Well, when you have an example, let me know so that I can improve that. Ana Lucia says, this reminds me of the "you're too qualified for this role. If I applied, I want that role. The decision should be mine." Yeah, it's a strange thing to say, and best to talk to the person who said it. Good luck. We got another anonymous question. Thank you for sending these anonymous questions. Don't forget you can send them at dcx.to/q, and they come in my email. I paste them in all kinds of fun places. How do you gain respect as a woman who comes off as timid because I tend to be overly nice? I think my first question, especially putting on my life coaching hat, would be, how do you know you're not respected? What is happening to or around you that tells you you're not being respected? How do you know that people see you as timid? How do you know you're being overly nice? Do you want to be overly nice? Do you want to be less nice or selectively nice? This might just be a self-awareness opportunity for you. Sometimes I find that people disrespect women because people are dicks. And they just think, oh, a woman, she must not know what she's doing, or she's a DEI hire, or whatever. You're not going to change those people's minds. Those people are dicks. And you need to look in the mirror and love yourself. If you are giving out a vibe of, you don't need to respect me because you can walk all over me and I won't say anything, or stuff like that, then sometimes people lose respect for people because they don't see you respecting yourself. They don't see you as having boundaries, so they don't have good boundaries. Now, again, you having boundaries doesn't guarantee that another person will have boundaries. Very often, people who are bad with boundaries are bad with boundaries, even if you try to be good with boundaries. But I think this is a self-awareness opportunity, in that it's not, so I'm not, when I say that, I'm not saying you did this to yourself or you brought this on yourself. This is definitely someone else or other people treating you a certain way, and everybody is involved here. But I would be asking myself, just in case, is there something I've done here? Is there a way that I'm behaving that is making me not respectable or not easy to respect? And what does respect look like? And why do I need it? And how does that manifest? So I think there's a lot of interesting questions that are great life coaching questions. dcx.coach, that might be worth diving into. Ana Lucia says, I can relate to this question. I've had people being inappropriate because they thought me being polite, nice, and having a smile on my face meant I wanted something else. I don't. Yeah, some of this is people misreading people. And again, some people are just dicks. It's got nothing to do with whether you're timid or whether you're nice or whether you're shy or polite or accommodating or not accommodating. In some cases, it's not you, and it wouldn't matter who you are or what you did. There might be people out there who have decided for some other reason they don't respect you. And no matter how much you tap dance and try to show them some other thing, they just might not respect you. I've bumped into that as well. And you just have to say, you know what, this isn't me, and there's nothing I can do or change or be that is going to make this person treat me fairly, so I'm just going to turn my energy somewhere else. KB says, my first question would be, do you feel you're overly nice, or did somebody tell you you're overly nice? If somebody told you that and you like who you are, maybe you just need a perspective shift. Yeah, and ultimately, if you like who you are, don't change who you are. But if you look back at who you are and you say, I like being nice, but sometimes I'm too nice and I let people walk all over me, and people interrupt me in meetings and I don't say something, and people steal my work and I don't say something because I'm so nice, then I would say, Why are you doing that? And you don't have to tell me. This is for your self-improvement. Ask yourself if, and again, this is an if because we don't know what you're doing or not doing. If you are somebody lacking boundaries, letting people walk on you or take credit for your work or steal your stuff, or you say yes to everything, including things you shouldn't say yes to, then why? Why are you doing that? And very often people's answers are, I want people to like me. And that might not be your answer. You might have your own unique answer, and that's fine. Sorry, I've rediscovered high quality coffee, even decaf. Ana Lucia says, there's no problem with being polite. I have no idea why some people think that's suggestive or something. So ultimately, I think that while we can't control other people's actions or behaviors, as we mentioned in the Life After Tech book, I believe, we can look at ourselves and see, is this a message for me? Is this a growth opportunity for me? And maybe it is and maybe it isn't. Sometimes people treat me like absolute shit, and I take a moment to ask myself, what role did I play in this, if any? And I say, as far as I can tell, I was completely fair and professional with that person, and they're just a dick, and I am not going to wear their bullshit and make it mine. Their bullshit is theirs. An email is coming in. I wonder if it's a follow-up. I get too shy and confused on... Oh, this is separate. Okay, I thought this was an explanation from that person. It is not an explanation from that person. It's a new question. KB says, we need some overly nice people out in the universe to balance out the overly aggressive. Right. Depending upon what's going on in your life, I might not tell you you're too nice. But if you say, oh, I'm being abused at home or at work, but I'll give them another chance, they'll change. I would probably, if you were a good friend, I would probably have that intervention moment and say, I think you're making excuses for a person who doesn't deserve excuses. You might be too nice. So again, we don't know what's going on there, but I would say have a good talk with yourself and ask yourself a lot of the questions we've brought up here today and see if you find some new clarity. #LifeCoaching, dcx.to. Okay, we got an anonymous question that says, I get too shy and confused on how to build a mentor. Any tips? So I assume the word, not quite the right word here. I wonder if you mean you're trying to find a mentor. I assume you don't mean you're trying to build mentoring others. You're trying to find a mentor. Ana Lucia says, I think sometimes the overly nice description is given to everyone who is simply polite and smiles and isn't overly aggressive. It may not even be a real thing. Also true. So, shy and confused on how to find mentors. We did a show on this. My brain wants to say episode 49, but that's so old that I'm probably wrong. So I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to type, and you can do this too, let's spell it right. Delta space CX space mentor space YouTube. Delta CX. Okay, it didn't come up with a particular video, so I'm going to go onto YouTube itself, and I'm going to try this again. And I'm going to search for Delta CX and mentor. 59, not 49. Okay, so we did a show 4 years ago, episode 59, and that was on how to select a mentor. I see there's also a short video from me that says, "Are awesome design mentors all awesome?" That was a little bit of a wink at awesome design people ADP list. So there's that video there. And yeah, so I would say you've got two videos there, 59 and the short video of "Are awesome design mentors all awesome?" So any tips? Then the main tip is ask people if they are offering mentoring. I get that a lot, and I have to turn most people down because I charge for my mentoring. The first call is free. The rest of the calls are not free. Anything you ask here on this show is free. Conversations in Discord are free. But where people want one-on-one help or coaching or mentoring, I currently charge for that. So you might also want to consider, do you have a budget? But I think reaching out to people that you admire and asking if they are doing any mentoring or could consider mentoring you, I think is worth a try. I can think of some people who would say yes, and I could think of people who would say no. Like I would unfortunately say, hey, you're welcome to a free coaching call, and we can have one call, but after that I would expect you to pay, and you probably would expect to not pay. So we might not be a match. KB says, I think people who aren't naturally polite view somebody being nice to them as trying to be manipulative. It says more about them never being around sincere or genuine people. It's something they should appreciate because it's a rarity if they're sincere. Ana Lucia says, and it's especially bad towards women for some reason, even if we smile. We're not suggesting anything inappropriate with that. Yep, I understand. Yes, I do. And we've got a Twitch person who I need to block because my streaming time is best spent blocking people. So no respect there. And where is the block button? So that's where this gets weird. How do you block this person? Click on them. And then I have to click on this. Report them. Spam. Next. Spam. Next. Now I have to say why I'm reporting them. Next. I verify the information is truthful. Yes. And block this user. Okay, so that was only 6 easy steps to block someone on Twitch. That could have been easier. Sounds like those are too many clicks. I definitely feel that way. So again, mentoring is tough because people tend to expect mentors to do it for free, and I just can't give everybody my time for free. And so you have to find someone who has available time for free. Let's see. Okay, we've got 2 more questions coming in. Oh, thank you for the follow, Lizness. Thank you, Lizness. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, we've got some fresh questions coming in anonymously. And again, if you're just joining, dcx.to/Q is our anonymous way to ask questions. Otherwise, you're welcome to put them in the chat and they will pop up on the screen and I will yell your name out. But again, this is the free mentoring time, everybody. So free coaching, free mentoring, free advice. If you have something you want to ask, now is that time. Just trying to get these organized. Bad UX, hired Debbie to fix that. Yes. Congratulations on Discord 500 plus. Thank you. I'm very excited about that. Hi, listeners. Listeners, do you have any questions? We got 2 before you, but I would love to answer any questions if you have them. You can send them in anonymously as well. So this is a long one, but let's read it and see if we can help this person. Hello. How do you convince a hiring manager to give you a chance to interview if you are well qualified for the role but lack industry experience? I've encountered this situation a couple of times and it's frustrating because there's no way to gain this experience unless you're hired into that industry. I've successfully transitioned to a couple of different industries in the past and sent the recruiter an email detailing my ramp-up process, but that still didn't help. This is an excellent question and it's something that has evolved over the years. It used to be that companies would give people a chance, especially when it was a candidate's market. That meant that there were more jobs than people. And so jobs were a little bit more flexible. They were like, okay, Ana Lucia has done research in healthcare and e-commerce, but she hasn't done research in banking. But you know what? Her work looks great. She seems like a great person to work with. Let's give her a chance. And so there are companies that do give people a chance when they don't have that industry experience, but right now, not necessarily many, because when it's an employer's market, what ends up happening is employers are getting what, 200, 500, 1,000 applications for the job. So they might say, we want a banking researcher. And Ana Lucia is a fantastic person and a great researcher. I would love for her to be considered for that job, but there might be a squillion applications from people who already have the banking experience. So you might be wondering, why won't these people give me a chance? I know I can do this. This is how I ramp up. And I believe in you. But if you're put yourself in the hiring manager's shoes, right? I'll have to pull up this to say empathy, but let's have some empathy for a hiring manager. You are looking for, and I'm just making this up, a researcher who has done banking or fintech before. You have 500 applications for the job in the first 24 hours. What's the chance that at least some of those people have done banking or fintech research before? You don't have to give someone a chance. So while I agree with you, I would love to see people getting a chance. I would like to see them to get a chance to break into the industry. I would like to see them to get a chance to join new industries that they haven't worked in before. That is not what the job market looks like right now. That doesn't mean it'll never happen to you. But notice how you started your question. You said, how do I convince the hiring manager? And that means that you believe that they just have to be convinced. If only I could just talk them into this. But you're not looking at it from their perspective. Their perspective is, I don't have to give you a chance. I have 50 candidates that are perfect matches for what I'm looking for. I don't have to go to the level B candidates who've never done this before. I can go to the 50 candidates who have done this before. KB says the hiring manager is looking for any way to reduce the number of resumes they have to sort through. That's also true. You may not get a chance because they are manually sorting through resumes or having AI sort through resumes and saying, just show me the people who've done banking before. And again, I'm just using banking as a fake example. That wasn't part of your question, but that's what's going on with jobs right now. And so I want to remind people that okay, they're gonna kick the spammer. So I want to remind people that it might not be you, and it is not necessarily your ability to convince someone else. Maybe you're very good at convincing people of things, but you might not get that chance when the hiring market looks like it does, where even I'm not considered for many jobs, and part of that reason might be because I don't have, and I've been told this in some cases, you don't have the exact experience in this industry at a company that's our size, at a company that's at our stage of growth, ... And so I don't think you can convince anybody. If they were open to being convinced, they'd be open to giving you a chance. And so it's not a matter of can you be convincing or can you be more convincing, or how many private messages on LinkedIn should you send them, or should you email spam them. To me, I don't recommend that. Okay, we've got an anonymous question, and then we'll see what Listness is asking. So let's look at the anonymous question. Here we go. Any advice for new service designers and systems designers in today's world, especially the job market? You're probably not going to like my advice, but my advice is have a plan B. Because unfortunately, I would, again, what did I just say? I would love to see new people able to break in. I would love to see new people getting a chance, whether you're a career transitioner or a recent graduate. I wish you could get that chance. I wish there were open doors for you and lots of them. However, you might have noticed that there aren't a lot of open doors. So if you are a new service designer, my question is, how did you become a new service designer? And is there a network you can tap into? Even so, you're not guaranteed to get a job. A network can't guarantee you a job. But if you are a new service designer because, for example, you just came out of the program in Copenhagen, talk to your professors, talk to your school, talk to the people there. Do you have people you can lean on to try to help you get internships or that first job? If not, then it's a little bit harder. But again, even today with networks, you're not guaranteed to get a job. I have 43,000 connections on LinkedIn. Where's my job? Okay, I'm interviewing right now for a contract job, but that, I hope that'll last a long time, and I hope I get it, but we're not guaranteed anything right now. Ana Lucia says, do you know what really pisses me off? They want the perfect person, but then they might not appear, and then they repost the job over and over again instead of giving a chance to a qualified person. And we also know that sometimes jobs are reposted because the job is fake. It's not that they couldn't find someone great in the 1,000 applications that came through. We know there are other reasons why they are doing this. So my advice right now, and has been for some time, have a plan B. That's what my Life After Tech book is about. You don't have to leave tech. You don't have to stop trying to break in or get a job. It's about having a plan B in case you can't get that job. If you apply for the next 3 months, 6 months, year, whatever your cutoff date is, and you still don't get a job, what will you do? Have a plan. Have a plan for in case that happens. That's all I'm asking. You don't have to stop trying, but have a plan B just in case. That is my advice, and I know people don't like it, but that is the best advice I can give you. I don't want to give you fake cheerleader advice and say, oh, go, 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 that job is just around the corner. I say, go, 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 but have a plan B just in case that job is not around the corner. Okay, we've got new friend Listeness, who says, let's see, I think I've got all this up on the screen. Oh, wrong button. Hold on, pressing all the wrong buttons. I know people don't see what I'm pressing. Okay, Listeness says, do you have any advice, always, on how to carry yourself in a way that commands respect among team members that don't respect or maybe don't understand design? I spend most of my week having conversations to get buy-in and support, but it gets pretty tiring after a while, especially when they feel pretty comfortable making design decisions for us. Yes, so there's kind of two questions in there, and I want to answer the one you're not asking first. And that is, first of all, give yourself a break. If people don't understand why you're there, that's not your fault. If they opened your job, wrote a job description, interviewed people, hired you, and still can't seem to figure out why you're there or what you do, that's not your fault. But it is your manager's fault, because your manager had something to do with the job being opened. Your manager had something to do with this job existing and you being there, and your manager needs to support you better. So number one, I would be going to my manager, because it might not be, do not gaslight yourself. It might not be that you are not carrying yourself correctly. That is some of the gaslighting bullshit that we tell each other. Could you do different things? Maybe, but you did not cause this problem. If they opened a job and hired you, you would supposedly think that they understand what you do and why you do it and why it's important. Otherwise, why hire you? Why open the job? So I would be talking to my manager and say, I seem to be in a lot of conversations trying to get buy-in, and no matter what I've done, they are making design decisions for me or without me. I think that collaboration is really important. When you interviewed me, we talked about collaboration, because I'm assuming when you were interviewed, they asked you typical questions about collaboration. My job description says we're going to be working together. We talked about collaboration in the interview. I want to collaborate with people, but it's not a democracy. It's not a shared trio. People are not listening to me and they're making design decisions for me. I'm already in a disempowered place. And it's hard for me as a disempowered person to gain back any respect or power. You're my manager. You know why this job was opened. You understand what I do. Hopefully they do. How can we improve this? And if they say, oh, well, you're not carrying yourself correctly, or, oh, you're doing this. Okay, let's imagine that's true. Give me some examples of how I've done this to myself. If they don't have concrete examples, then all of this is lies and bullshit. And if they say, oh, well, that time you did this, people didn't like it. And oh, that time you said that, people didn't like it. Then I usually, after those examples, if they even have any, I say, what should I have done in that situation? Oh, well, you should have just said yes to them. Well, then they are making design decisions for us. That's not empowering. Just saying yes to everything isn't empowering. So I think you have to dig a little bit deeper to see if your manager is going to stand behind you. Oh, boo to Amazon for sending Mother's Day shit. Come on. Listener says, fair point. It seems to be an issue that happens above my manager because they do it to him and my director as well. They like to sometimes have dev design and build new features without any design involvement at all and then ask us to pretty it up. They claim design is a bottleneck. Right. And so magically, you're not a bottleneck when you have to fix the bad design someone else did, but you are a bottleneck when you have to do the design. So this is all fake. It's all garbage. So it sounds like you're disempowered. Your manager is disempowered. The director above them is disempowered. And this is a hard place because 2 years ago, I would say, get another job. But right now, with the job market being what it is, that might be hard. Still, that shouldn't stop you from trying. Brush up your resume or CV, brush up your portfolio, and see if you can move along. See if there's something else out there for you. And also, give yourself, here, let's take a bad case scenario here. Let's imagine that you work somewhere that will absolutely not give you any power, that will always treat you like you can't make a good decision, that will always treat you like you are the bottleneck or the problem. Do yourself a favor. Go to work, do your best, fuck everybody else, let it roll off your back. It's not you. Collect your money and go home and have fun. Draw, dance, sing, play with your pet, your partner. Go. Why did it say low volume? Can people still hear me? Go out. Yes. So I give you permission, and so does my Life After Tech book, to just have a job and just do the best you can. And because I've had that job, I had it at Macy's. You would think Macy's would hire me as a senior UX architect with extensive experience and let me do my thing. They did not. I had all kinds of product managers bullying me, making decisions for me. I had an engineering team that was told by their lead to do the design because that's what lean UX is all about. Fuck Jeff Godhelf. And so I was not able to fix that. And I think of myself as a fairly compelling person. And I think of myself as someone who carries myself in a way that commands respect. So it's not you. It's not necessarily you. And so if someone can find an example where it's you, okay. Self-awareness, opportunity, room for improvement, cool. But if it's not you, let's not pretend it is. You can go to work. I went to Macy's for 2 years. I did my best every day. I got orders. I got told exactly what to do. I got barked at when I tried to be strategic or be a critical thinker. When I tried to warn people of mistakes, I was told I was hysterical. Even though those mistakes then happened, exactly the way I predicted them. Somehow I was hysterical, which magically we never say to a man. So, listeners, I've seen it all. And it might not be you. So remember, don't assume I'm not carrying myself well or I'm not carrying myself correctly. Sure, sometimes we want to learn to be bolder. Sometimes we want to evolve how we are in a workplace, but maybe you don't have to. Maybe you're awesome as you are, and this workplace doesn't get you like Macy's didn't get me. Yeah, I was not happy when 2 men called me hysterical, but I just smiled at them and I said, I'll document my predictions and we'll see what happens when you run your pilot. And then it went exactly the way that I said. And I said, well, it went exactly the way that I said. It failed exactly the way that I predicted it would. Now can we please use my design? And they said, no, fix our idea. I said, your idea doesn't work. We just proved it. You just proved your idea doesn't work. And I was able to predict your idea doesn't work. So, your idea doesn't work. I can't make it better. It's a bad idea. And they had me thrown off the team. So my manager put me on a different project and start all over again. So just remember, oh, don't worry about it. Thank you, but don't worry about it. I'm sorry you are going through this. It's unfortunately very common. Join our Discord. Many people are going through these things. We've got work channels where you are welcome to chat and rant about your work adventures. So yes, this is common, but my main thing is I'm so worried about the first part of your question when it's how do you carry yourself? And how you carry yourself might not matter when you're in a world of dickheads. Checking my email and I'm not seeing any fresh questions, and that's fine. We'll be wrapping up in 10 or 20 minutes. And just a reminder that I do this every Wednesday, so if you're having fun here, join us live. If you can't make it live, it'll be on Twitch for a little bit, but then it's archived forever and ever on YouTube. You can find us at dcx Hive on YouTube. These are always archived there. And listeners, you may want to check out our conference, dcx.com. Day 1 is dealing with crappy workplaces. Day 2 is time and energy management, which I'm super curious about. And day 3 is possible career shifts, which might also be for the person who asked about becoming a service designer. So something for everybody at the dcx Hive conference, which is completely live and online. Yeah, please check it out. If you go to dcx.com, it's on the homepage and it's in the navigation. You'll find your way there. And registration is open. Right now, it's a small group. I think we have 30 people registered. So right now, it's a small start, but you know, I would love to see hundreds of people there. But if 30 people are there, cool. The show goes on. Let's see. So while we wait to see if there's any last questions for this week, just a reminder that next Tuesday's show on our Take Action Tuesday will be going through Microsoft's guidelines for human AI interaction, and we will be roasting these guidelines. What do we think of these guidelines? Is Microsoft following their own guidelines? Is anybody following these guidelines? We're going to go through these next Tuesday. I haven't even looked at them yet. They're going to be a surprise to me, and they're going to be a surprise to you if you haven't seen them yet, and that is next Tuesday's show. That'll be episode 267. So yeah, and of course, thank you to the person who just joined Discord, which may or may not be listeners. So welcome. Oh, I hope I get more sleep tonight. When you're up at 4 a.m. ordering a mosquito net for your bed. That's all I gotta say. I think that tells the whole story. I have so many mosquito bites on me. I look like I do heroin. I'm so embarrassed. I'm just covered in stuff. Wow. Anyway, if people don't have questions, we can certainly consider wrapping up the show. KB says, Liz, you're probably ahead of the curve and experiencing the suffering of knowing things that others refuse to acknowledge. Oh, so true for the Delta CX Hive. Whether you're a low ego action hero or a phoenix, the members of the Delta CX Hive are usually critical thinkers who see the things and other people don't want us to see the things, and so they try to make us smaller and take away the power. Ana Lucia says, if it doesn't say something like, you should thank our AI overlords or praise the Skynet, I will be disappointed. Hey, Sebastian, how are you? You still in Florida? Sebastian says, hey, Debbie, great to listen to you again. Yeah, it's been like 3 years. I'm currently looking for my next opportunity. Join the club. Do you have any recommendations for identifying research agencies in the job search process beyond Google? Google's a research agency? News flash. So here's the problem. What I have found is that, let's post this. Oh, thank you, Liz. Liz just joined the Discord. We'll be happy to see you there. And please make threads. Everybody, please make threads on Discord. Our Discord is fantastically organized. Oh, I'm so proud of everybody. So Sebastian, you've probably noticed the job market is really terrible. So how do you identify agencies that do research? You can always cold email them, though don't be surprised if you don't hear back or they tell you we're not looking at this time. That just may be what's going on. I get those emails too. I get people writing to me, oh, I would love to work for Delta CX. We're not hiring. And so sometimes I write people back and sometimes I don't. So, that's what's out there. I think a lot of external recruiters are no longer a terrifically viable option because companies don't need recruiters. There's so many candidates for the job. They don't need a middle person who's going to try to find people. So I think in general, because I think I hear what you're asking, in general, I don't have any special advice on how to find a job. It's just a matter of applying. And again, these are some of the conversations we're having in our Discord community where some people are finding a job, but in some cases it's taking them months or over a year. And it's just a matter of applying until they eventually got a chance to interview. Sebastian says, beyond searching on Google is what I meant. Sorry, I've been working for a great research agency in San Diego the past 5 years. Oh, okay. Now looking for something similar or in-house work. Yeah, obviously clean up that resume, clean up that portfolio. And, you've got a lot of experience. And so all you can do is just keep applying. But what I'm finding is that a lot of agencies have way less work than they used to, which means they are not looking at as much at researchers. I think corporates are not looking as much at researchers, and many of the corporate jobs are come into the office. So depending upon where you are living now, I thought you were in Florida at one point, but I can't remember everybody's everything. I try. Something about you, I remember a wife and I remember a Florida. I apologize if both of those are no longer true. There is no magic secret to how do you find a UX job right now. They are very rare. They are very hard to find. You can try your network. You can try online communities. You can try job boards. You can try, there's lots of things you can try, but I cannot guarantee that these work. It's not the way it used to be. It's not the way it used to be where when a Sebastian or a Debbie was out of work, 3 weeks later we found something because there was a great demand for what we did and we had enough experience to prove that we could jump right in at any agency or company. And if you were at an agency for 5 years and now you're not, my guess, though I can't prove this, would be that you didn't quit without a job to go to. They might have laid you off because they don't have enough work. That's just a guess. And that's what it's like out there. Richie 2K6, I feel like we haven't seen you in a while. Good to see some old friends back. Don't forget to check out our upcoming conference, everybody. dcx.to. Day 1, dealing with difficult workplaces. Day 2, time and energy management. Day 3, career shifts, possibly even out of tech. I was for my PhD back in 2015 to 2018, moved to California since. Yeah, I don't have good news for everybody looking for a job. I am sorry about that. Oh, we're getting an anonymous question as well. So let's paste Richie's question up on the screen, and then we'll do anonymous question. Then we'll have to wrap up. Okay, Richie's question says, any advice on being a good UX mentor? I've been designing for 10 years, and I'm at the point where my manager is turning to me to guide one of our juniors. It's not exactly natural to me. Any tips? Yes, I just published an article some days ago called the Kate Framework, and this is a framework I use when I am judging other people's work, because mentoring is certainly about supporting people, helping them, raising them up, helping them upskill, do better work. The Kate Framework will help you with that. It'll give you a framework through which you can review their work. So I had to enjoy Discord. Yeah, sorry. Thank you for double joining, listeners. We welcome you there. How do you mentor? I don't have another video or article on that. The Kate Framework one will help. You can find my articles at rbeford.com, as in research before development, reflection before direction. rbeford.com, and I only published it some days ago, so it should be one of the newer articles towards the top. Kate Framework, CATE. That's one thing. The other thing is ask your junior what they need. You know, you can get some guidance by just asking curious questions. Hey, our manager is suggesting that I mentor you. I'll take a look at some of your work for some of your strengths and weaknesses. Let's elevate your weaknesses. Let's focus on your strengths, or even elevate your strengths. But how can I help you? I mean, the best question to ask is always, how can I best help you? And that person might know exactly what they need. Oh, I wish someone would check my work twice a week. Can you make time for that person to check their work? Can you give them actionable, usable feedback versus, I don't like this, or do this different, or why do you do this? So you've got to put on a nice coaching, mentoring hat and ask curious, positive, friendly questions that don't sound annoying, like, why'd you do it this way? So that's some of my tips. Is this helping? Is this making sense? I think Twitch is less delayed than YouTube. Tell me if I'm headed in the right direction with this, and I'll check what the anonymous question says. Okay, very good anonymous question. Okay. KB says, best advice I've heard about delivering negative feedback is to sandwich it between two positives. If you're their boss, they're probably going to be sensitive to criticism. Try to start and end every conversation with a sincere and honest positive acknowledgement. And to me, that's really about the person's style. I'm definitely a blunt person, so I don't need what they call the shit sandwich, which is happy piece of bread, shit in the middle, sorry there's something you're not doing well, and happy piece of bread. I just want to hear this stuff. It didn't occur to me to ask her how she'd like to be. Yeah, do that. You can try the shit sandwich, especially if they seem sensitive or are concerned about receiving things. Sometimes a conversation, and they don't have to answer this, do they have any disabilities, diagnoses, or conditions? Because I've had some people say to me, look, I want you to coach me, but I have ADHD or I have autism, and there's things I don't want you to do. Never do this, please do this. And that's great. Whether or not they tell me they have ADHD or autism, telling me some of their style is important. So Richie, I'd also probably ask these people about styles. Is there a particular style of feedback that they prefer. Yeah, I think there's definitely a few things you can do there. All right, let's go to our last question, and then I'm going to have to play us out of here because I have a job interview after this. Okay. I like UX and the people that work in it, but it seems like the industry is a mess. I'm torn between trying to stay in it or find work where I can. It seems like UX is broken and staying in it is draining my soul. Where have people moved on to scratch that UX itch? What other jobs? Ooh, are you in our Discord community? Thing 1. 2, have you read my book, Life After Tech? People, this is why I wrote it. I don't know why people are delaying reading it. It is inexpensive and it is written for you. The book covers this. First of all, coaching hat on, you are answering your question. You are telling me the industry is a mess, UX is broken, staying in it is draining my soul. So we have some information there. That doesn't mean you shouldn't work in it. That doesn't mean you have to leave it. You can keep working in it if you want and can find it and make okay money. Why not? But where do you move on? Now you're saying, how do I move on to scratch the UX itch? And I would say that's where you need chapter 5. Because chapter 5 says it's actually not a UX itch you're trying to scratch. In my book, I suggest, though you may not agree, that the real thing we're trying to scratch are our core personal qualities. UX is what you're doing with your core personal qualities. But if we dig a layer under that, there's who you are at your core. And in another chapter, we talk about how do you feel a sense of reward at a job. And when you start doing the exercises in the book and you get a sense of your core personal qualities and the way you feel reward, you're going to realize that scratching the itch is about those things. That there might be other things that scratch that itch that aren't UX because they connect to and light on fire in a good way your core personal qualities and your sense of, sorry, did I say sense of belonging? That's a different chapter. Your sense of reward. What makes you feel rewarded? What makes you feel like this job is okay or good or I did a good thing today? So to the person asking this, I would say don't look for the UX replacement that looks like UX. The thing that you replace it with might not look like UX, might not smell like UX. We had someone on the Life After Tech podcast, which you can find on the Life After Tech website, lifeaftertech.info. We had someone who really wanted to be a funeral director, and they felt like they could take their core personal qualities and some of the things that they thought made them like UX or good at UX and bring that into funeral direction, because you need empathy, you need to be organized, you need to think about multiple systems, you need to think about different users' needs, especially at a difficult time. And so I would challenge the person who asked this to imagine that you're not scratching a UX itch. You might be scratching an itch, but it might not be UX. It might be the itch of your core personal qualities and what gives you a sense of reward. So won't you please buy Life After Tech? You can find it at dcx.to in multiple formats. I'm also doing a guided version as a cohort in June. You can find that on our events page, dcx.to. We'll dump you on our page of links, and you can find the events page. So I gotta run. Thanks to everybody for a super show with a lot of great questions. I do this every week. If you want to send in questions to dcx.to/q, you can, and I will ask your questions among the first, and you can always watch it on YouTube later if you couldn't make the live show. So I'm gonna play us out of here. I'll flame us out of here, and I will catch everybody possibly for Saturday karaoke, certainly for Take Action Tuesday when we roast Microsoft's AI guidelines. Thanks. Bye.